Alright, I believe we are officially live. Let's check. Let's get the comments pulled up. All of that good stuff. Refresh. Always have to do this a few times. There we go. We are officially live. Okay, cool. Mike is not muted. Mike is not muted. Okay, good. What is up, everybody? Waterbro here with Vacate Fear. It feels extremely early to me. It feels extremely early to me because I got like 3 hours of sleep last night. So it feels like it's about 8 or 9 o'clock in the morning. So if my energy, all right, and the way my words flow is a little up and down today during this stream, just kind of give me a pass on that one. Just kind of give me a pass on that one because I'm working with 3 hours here. All right, I'm working with 3 hours. Someone need that pass. Madison, I love you. What is up? Yo, welcome to the stream, everybody. Today's topic, negative thoughts. Negative thoughts. If we had a penny for every time we spoke about negative thoughts here on the channel, right? Negative thoughts. Don't force them out. Just look elsewhere. So, we talk a lot about not entertaining, not following, not fighting with, not doing anything with your negative thoughts, right? Not getting involved. We talk a lot about this, all right? But I have a feeling, just from some of the comments I get from time to time and just from some of the chat, that people think this means we need to stop the negative thoughts. That we need to, at whatever costs, when these negative thoughts are there, we need to drive them out, right? I was talking about giving yourself a reminder the other day to not get involved with negative thoughts. And it occurred to me that to some people, they thought that meant when a negative thought rises up in your mind, that you should quickly and repeatedly, until that negative thought leaves, repeat your reminder. I'm not going to fight with you. I'm not going to fight with you. I'm not going to get involved with you. I'm not going to get involved with you. And just do it again and again and again until that negative thought leaves you alone. Not necessarily. Not necessarily. That's why we always say accept, notice, and remind yourself not to get involved. And then I usually go on to say something like, we're not trying to force the thoughts out. We're not trying to do anything with them. But I feel like some people miss that crucial last bit there. The part where I say we're not trying to force the thoughts out, we're not trying to do anything with them, we're not trying to drown them out or anything like that. The reminder is to simply remind yourself not to get involved. Okay? It's not to try to use it as a means to force the thoughts out. So I feel like there's some people out there who kind of miss that last very important, crucial part of the equation there with not trying to force the thoughts out. So that's what we're going to talk about today. I had the same lack of sleep, so we're both running on only a couple hours. Okay. Team No Sleep. Sanchez, what is up, dude? Welcome to the stream. Olivia, welcome. We're going to get going in just a minute. We'll give it about another minute. Let some people get in here live. Let some people get in here live before we get going. So if you're having trouble still with those negative thoughts, if there's a bit of an issue in your own brains about what exactly it is you're supposed to do with those negative thoughts, I'm going to try to make it as clear as possible today, right? I'm going to try to make it as crystal clear as I possibly can, going over each and every step with a magnifying glass today. That way there is no confusion when I say accept, notice, remind yourself to not get involved, but keep in mind that does not mean to try to force the thoughts out. We're going to break that down. We notified the Discord, didn't we? Yeah, I think we're good. I think we're good there. Yeah, we did. Let's toss them another notification real quick, though. 2 won't hurt anything. There we go. 2 won't hurt anything. Alright, guys. Let's go ahead and get started. We're about 4 minutes into this thing. So, I've already rambled quite a bit about what we're going to be talking about today, but let's go over it one more quick time. All right, if you've been on the channel for a while, if you've been watching my streams for a while, you know that I recommend, out of my own personal experience with this thing, not to fuel these negative thoughts. So important. So I always tell people to accept your negative thoughts, accept them, okay, because there's no point in getting frustrated when a negative thought comes, so you need to greet it with acceptance, right? Notice that it's there, okay? That's probably in reverse order, but it doesn't matter. Notice that the thought is there, accept the thought, right? No sense in getting frustrated, all right? And then last but not least, do not try to force the thought out. Simply remind yourself to not get involved. See, here's the thing. Here's the thing. When I say remind yourself if need be, as many times as you need to not get involved with your negative thoughts, I am not under any circumstance telling you to try to use that reminder as a means to force the thoughts out, because if that's what you're doing, I promise you, you are fueling the thoughts. The reminder to yourself needs to be just a reminder to yourself to not entertain it, to not get involved with it. So, what do we do at that point? Okay, we've noticed the negative thought, we've accepted it the best that we can, we've reminded ourselves, okay, I know what to do, which is to not get involved, right? We've reminded ourselves. So what's the next step? What's going to happen next? Well, what's going to happen next is that negative thought is probably going to still continue to be there. All right. It's probably going to cause some feelings in the body. And this next part is so crucial. This next part is so crucial. After you remind yourself to not get involved with that negative thought, it's time to get on with your day. It's time to get on with life. Because if you're sitting there with all of your attention and all of your focus and all of your might put on this negative thought after you remind yourself to not get involved, well, you might as well be getting involved. You might as well be getting involved. Negative thoughts need your attention. They need your focus. They need all of your will and might in order to grow, in order to thrive. A negative thought is made up of energy. And we talked about this in our last stream. So when you give your energy, okay, aka your attention, aka your focus, aka fighting, arguing, whatever, with these negative thoughts, they are going to gain more energy. So when I say to remind yourself to not get involved, that does not need to be used as something you do in order to try to make the negative thought go away. That is something that you need to use in order to avoid the temptation of getting involved with the negative thought. Do you see the crucial difference there? You're not trying to force it away. You are just reminding yourself to leave it alone. You are reminding yourself to not try to force it away. You are reminding yourself to not get into that fight, right? What happens after that is that the thought tends to stick around, especially if you've entertained it in the past, because now this thought is pretty much hardwired, right? We can reverse that though. So the thought continues to stick around, right? The thought continues to stick around even after you reminded yourself, I'm not going to entertain that, I'm not going to feel that. The thought is still very much there, and that's fine. What we need to do at that point is continue on with our day, continue on with our life, try to put our focus elsewhere, right? The thought can be there, it can be there floating around in our heads, but we're not up there involved with it with our attention and focus and fighting with it and yada, yada, yada. Okay? We acknowledge that it's there, we accept that it's there, we remind ourselves, I'm not going to get involved with that, and then we put the focus elsewhere. We look elsewhere. The title of the stream is Don't Force Them Out, Just Look Elsewhere. Right? And what that means is it means to take your focus and attention to the best of your ability. I'm not saying you can do this 100%. Right? I know these thoughts have a very powerful pull, but I'm saying to the best of your ability, after you remind yourself to not get involved and to just accept the thought for what it is, to the best of your ability, put your attention elsewhere. And that means back out into the real world, right? Now, we could get into terms like present moment living, and we could say, okay, when a thought is there, remind yourself not to fight with it, and then just become present. I try to avoid terms like present moment living, and it tends to overcomplicate things. So I like to say just look elsewhere. If a thought is there and you've reminded yourself to accept it and to not get involved with it, okay, then just look elsewhere at that point. And I'm not saying that's going to be easy. I'm not saying you can do that with 100% of your focus. A little bit of you is still probably going to be getting pulled up here just a little bit, right? But I am saying you do have to make a conscious effort to not fuel that thought. And to not fuel that thought, to not entertain that thought, to not get involved with that thought, is made so much easier when you make the conscious choice to look elsewhere. What do I mean by look elsewhere? I mean to put your attention and focus on what's in front of you, what you're doing, to the best of your ability. Be all there. Be all there to the best of your ability. And if the thought is still there, that's fine. Again, we're not trying to force the thought out. If we're aware that, okay, I have taken my attention, I have taken my focus, and I have used it on something else other than fighting with these thoughts, that is a great step. But I'm noticing that the thought is still there, that's fine. that's fine because it's slowly going to lose its energy. It's slowly going to lose its power. It 9 times out of 10 is not going to lose all of its power that you've given it for so long in a matter of seconds, in a matter of minutes, right? So that's to be expected. But as long as most of your attention, if you can, as long as most of your attention is involved in life, involved in what's in front of you, involved in something else other than fighting with these thoughts are slowly going to lose their power. They're going to lose their fuel. Like we said in our last stream, you are taking that energy away, right? You are taking that energy away. Now, before I started this stream, I saved a bit of a quote from Eckhart Tolle. You guys know I love Eckhart Tolle. Okay, so I'm going to read this now. Okay, and this wasn't directly from him. This was on his website. I don't know exactly who it was from, but it's excellent. All right, so first off, all thoughts rely on its energy from you. If you cut off its energy, it can't survive. So how does the mind get its energy off you? Simply by attention. The more attention you give the thoughts, okay, the more they grow. So if you focus on the thoughts, you are essentially helping them survive. You can allow the thoughts to be there without having to focus on them. So sorry, I'm not the best reader when I've had 3 hours of sleep, but I think you get what that was trying to say, right? Despite me getting a little bit tongue-tied. I think you get what that was trying to say there. How do thoughts survive? How do they thrive? How do they grow? Okay, they need to be fueled by something. They need to be energized by something. So what is that energy? That energy is your focus, your attention. Okay, what is your attention? Your attention means that you're up in your head trying to solve these thoughts, trying to fight with these thoughts, trying to do something with them. You're up there and you're judging them and you're labeling them. All of this is forms of attention. All of this is forms of giving something attention, right? So instead of the word focus, let's use attention. All of this is a form of giving something attention. If you continue to give attention to something that is undesirable in your life, right? Let's say you've got a bully or a troll and you continue to give all of your attention to this troll. What happens? They step it up a notch. What happens? You guys know what internet trolls are, all right? This is the day and age that we live in. What happens if you give your attention to an internet troll, chat? Right? They step their game up because they're getting what they want. So you can view these thoughts as an internet troll. If you give your attention to them by labeling, judging them, fighting with them, trying to do anything with them, trying to do something about them, getting up in your head and really, really arguing with them and watching them so closely that you're critiquing every little thing and you're really fueling these thoughts now, if you give your attention to these thoughts, they will grow. If you take the attention away, the best of your ability, right, they will slowly start to lose their power, and this will become easier and easier to do. But my main point of today's stream was that we're not trying to force thoughts out. We're not trying to force thoughts out. I did not say that it was okay for you guys to use a reminder as a means to make the thoughts go away, because that's, again, attention. That's, again, a fight. The reminder is a simple reminder to yourself that you are not going to fight, that instead you are going to just take your attention away while the thought is there. You're going to accept that the thought is there, but you're placing the attention consciously on something else. You're no longer fueling the thoughts by getting involved, right? So, one last little rundown of how this thing goes. Thought comes. You notice it. All right, there it is. You accept it because there's no sense in getting frustrated over the fact that it came because you can't do anything about that. So you notice it, you accept it, you remind yourself, okay, in this moment I'm not going to fight with these thoughts, and then you just look elsewhere. That doesn't mean you're saying please go away, oh God, I'm not fighting with you, I'm not fighting with you, I'm not fighting, trying to talk over the thoughts. Because that again is just more attention, more attention, more attention. So it's a noticing and accepting, a reminder to not get involved and just look elsewhere. If the thought wants to be there still, that's fine. But the fact that you're looking elsewhere, which means just to get back into life, to focus on what's in front of you, to do your best to put your attention anywhere else but here. Not in a forceful way, but in a gentle, conscious way. Okay? While that thought is still there, eventually it's going to lose power. So some people might say, well, I look elsewhere, but the thought is still there. That's fine. You've still cut off the fuel. It does not, okay, as soon as you stop adding logs to a campfire, does that campfire go immediately out? Chat. As soon as you stop adding logs to a campfire, does that campfire go immediately out? No. No, it takes a fire some time to burn itself out. That's fine. But the fact that you're no longer up here with your attention, fighting, arguing, judging, labeling, agreeing, disagreeing, wrestling, as long as you're no longer up here with your attention and you're just looking elsewhere while the thought is there, okay, that fire is still burning. That fire is still burning bright. But now that the attention is not up here and you've placed it on something else in the real world to the best of your ability, you're slowly stopping adding those logs. You're slowly not adding those logs anymore. And although it takes a fire a little bit to burn out after you stop adding logs, eventually it will burn out. But as long as you've got your attention up here, fighting, arguing, judging, labeling, doing whatever it is, okay, with your involvement up here, you're adding logs. You're adding logs, right? So again, I want to be very clear about that. Just because you say, okay, I noticed the thought, I accepted the thought, I reminded myself to not get involved with the thought, but yet the thought is still there. I'm looking elsewhere, but the thought is still there. Okay, well, if you're asking yourself questions like, when are you going to go away? I'm looking elsewhere and you're not going away, then you're still giving attention up here. All right? So the thought is not going to immediately burn itself out when you start looking elsewhere. The thought is not going to immediately burn itself out when you remind yourself to not get involved and you start to put the attention and focus to the best of your ability on something in the real world and getting on with your day. The fire is not going to immediately go out, and that doesn't mean you're doing anything wrong. As long as you're making your best effort to take the attention and focus off of the thoughts and instead just allow them to be there in your head, floating around in your head, while your attention and focus is on something in reality, while you're just allowing and accepting the thought to be there, eventually that fire will burn itself out because you've removed the fuel. You've stopped energizing it. As we said in yesterday's stream, you have stopped energizing it. I just wanted to make this stream today, chat, because I wanted to be 100% clear on that. I could just notice, I know you guys, all right? I've noticed from some comments, some people think that, when you remind yourself to not get involved with the mind, that's you trying to stop the thought and force the thought. No, we always say notice, accept, remind yourself not to get involved. Don't try to force the thoughts out. You're not getting involved. You're just putting focus and attention elsewhere. As the title of this stream says, just look elsewhere to the best of your ability, and you've stopped adding that fuel to the thought. You've stopped adding the logs to the fire because your attention, okay, and intention takes place in many different ways, whether it's judging, fighting, labeling, so on and so forth. Your attention is those logs. Your attention is that reason the fire continues to burn as bright and hot as it is, right? So again, the fire is not going to immediately burn itself out as soon as you start to take attention away from it. As soon as you start to accept the thoughts and stop getting involved, aka stop putting so much attention and time and effort into fighting and labeling and judging them, the fire is not going to immediately burn itself out. It still takes a fire some time to burn itself out, even after you remove the logs and stopped adding the logs, right? It still takes time for a fire to burn itself out. So, one last time, and then we're done with the main point of this stream. Notice thoughts, accept that they came, remind yourself that you're not going to get involved, and just look elsewhere. Allow it to be here if it wants to be, but take that attention away from it to the best of your ability and get on with your day, right? So that fire will start to burn itself out. Just because the thought is still there after you have put your attention elsewhere and have stopped getting involved, all right, and have just accepted that it's there, does not mean that fire will immediately burn itself out. You have removed the fuel source, which means that it will eventually burn itself out, but it does not mean it will right away, and that's okay. That doesn't mean you're doing anything wrong, as long as you are making your best effort to not get involved and place the attention and focus elsewhere while that thought is left alone, then you are doing it right. All right, chat? Just wanted to clarify. Just wanted to clarify. I didn't want anyone out there thinking, okay, Wonder Bro said I could have reminders to not get involved. Now every time a thought comes, I just spam it in my head. I'm not getting involved. I'm not getting involved. I'm not getting involved. Trying to repeat that until the thought leaves. The reminder is a reminder to yourself to not get involved. It is not a means to try to make the thoughts stop. It is a reminder to look elsewhere. As the title of this stream says, just look elsewhere. All right, you guys. So I hope that clarifies that. I hope everybody is clear, completely clear on that. For only having 3 hours of sleep, I think I did pretty good with not getting too tongue-tied there. So Awesome. Pat on the back for that one. What is up, Facepate? Bruce, how you guys doing? How are you guys doing? Welcome, welcome, welcome. Too much living in the past can lead to depression. Too much future thinking can lead to anxiety. Living in the present leads to neither. Absolutely 110%. Agreed, Lincoln. Great analogy. Hey, I appreciate it, Deadpool. How you doing, man? All right. You guys know what time it is. If I can find it right there. Right there. So, you guys know me, I'm a bit of a perfectionist. If I notice that people are taking what I'm saying in a slightly wrong way, I like to set things straight in order to give you guys the best straightforward advice possible. No confusion, right? So I hope that helped a little bit. Just look elsewhere. The thoughts are still going to be there. They're going to bug the hell out of you, but you got to look elsewhere while they're still there, and you accept that they're there. But when you look elsewhere, you have removed the fuel source, right? Just wanted to clarify, chat. How's everybody's day been so far? I am extremely tired. I am extremely tired, chat. But I'm sticking in there. I'm hanging in there. What's up, T? Welcome to the stream, dude. So, chat, right? One of the videos, I'm not sure what the title of the stream is. I can't tell you right off the top of my head. But one of the previous streams from the past 2 or 3 days will probably be getting removed simply because I feel like I did not clarify exactly what I meant by giving yourself the reminder of not getting involved like I did in this stream. And I don't want people watching that and coming to the wrong conclusion. So if you see a video just disappear off the channel, that's why. You don't need that video anymore. Just watch this one. Just watch this one. This is a 2.0, all right? This is a 2.0, chat. Don't miss the old video that's about to be deleted. This is a 2.0. It's a better clarification. Well, then you've got to start putting that, you got to start looking elsewhere. The attention is way too much on the thought, and all that tension is doing is fueling these thoughts. The attention is way too much on the thought, trying to figure out what to do with it, how to do it. There's no acceptance. There's complete resistance because your attention is fully there, judging, labeling, or whatever it is you do. I don't know what it is you personally do with your thoughts, but as long as your attention is on the thoughts, 9 times out of 10, you're getting involved, right? So there's got to be some acceptance there. And then you got to look elsewhere. As the title of this stream says, you have to start looking elsewhere. You have to make that effort. Even if it's not 100% just yet at first, and it probably won't be at first, you have got to at least put in some effort while that thought is there to look elsewhere with your attention. Naturally, this will start to remove that fuel source from these thoughts. But as long as your attention is rooted in these thoughts and you're fueling them, fueling them, fueling them, well, this is going to be reality. This is going to be reality because thoughts are energy. And if you're energizing them, what do you expect is going to happen? Do you see what we're saying? So you've got to try with your best effort to practice accepting, noticing thoughts, accepting them, reminding yourself you're not going to get involved, and then look elsewhere. Then look elsewhere while that thought is there, all right? And like we just said, the fire is not going to immediately burn itself out, but as long as you're making a conscious effort to do your best to look elsewhere while that thought is there and remove that attention to the best of your ability in a gentle, conscious way, right? You will slowly start to snuff these thoughts out, right? So when I say look where elsewhere, do you mean to distract yourself? I wouldn't call it trying to distract yourself. I would call it just living, just getting back into life, getting back into life. To distract yourself, okay, when I hear the term distract, that makes me think of somebody who's rushing around in a panic trying to get the thoughts to go away. But I get what you're saying. I guess you technically could use the word distract. I don't prefer it because people automatically start to think, oh, well, he means to try to force the thoughts out. No, 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 no. I mean just to get back into life to the best of your ability, not giving so much of your attention to these thoughts and just letting them be there, right? That's why people drink alcohol, exactly. Of course, that is not a long-term solution. That leads to a lot of problems. You've got the key in your hand, right? You've got the key in your hand. If you didn't fully comprehend everything that we just said, watch this stream until you do fully comprehend it, right? Watch this stream until you do fully comprehend it. Are red hives because of anxiety, and do they go away? Stress hives are absolutely a part of anxiety. I used to get them all up and down my thighs. So your attention is what powers things, guys. You got to start seeing your attention. And when I say the word attention, I simply mean your involvement, right? So your attention is what powers things. And to notice a thought when it comes is not a bad thing. Of course you're going to notice it. But what you do with your attention past that point, whether you spend it getting involved with this thought or trying to just look elsewhere, right, is up to you. But you really have to start seeing your attention as your power. What are you giving power to? Your attention is the power. Thoughts are energy. Your attention is full of energy. Full of energy, right? So you really have to start seeing your attention as your source of power. And that's why we say you've got to start practicing to the best of your ability to accept and allow these thoughts to be up in your headspace, right? Don't try to force them out because that's just more attention. So to accept and allow these thoughts in your headspace, but just put the attention elsewhere to the best of your ability. Just look elsewhere. And you're probably not going to be perfect at that right away. And there's no sense in beating yourself up about that if you're not, because that's just more negative attention, right? So you get what we're saying. To allow these thoughts to be in your headspace, accept, allow, right? Don't try to force out because that's negative attention. Remind yourself, I don't have to give the attention to the thoughts, and try to just look elsewhere and continue to practice this. Continue to practice this. You will slowly take the fuel away from these thoughts. And as we just said, a fire does not burn out immediately, but it will burn out because you've removed the fuel source, which is your attention, right? So you've got to get started. You have got to get started. All right, let's see here. All right. Why did you only get 3 hours of sleep? I'm sleeping amazing, but I'm still so tired. So I was gonna go to sleep a long, 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 long time ago, and then I decided I would help fix my little cousin's computer. I don't know what happened to it, a virus or something, completely wiped his system 32. So been doing that because I imagine how it feels to be a kid with a sweet new gaming PC that you just got for Christmas and it has a virus and you can't get past the Windows login screen, automatic repair loop or whatever. Yeah, so I was like, I feel for you, dude. I got you. I got you. So I've been up doing that. I've been up doing that. If you're taking medicine for it, then acceptance is key, right? What else can you be told to do with it? Accept not to get involved in the thoughts about it, right? Just extra stress, extra obsession, extra, 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 just so much negative attention, right? So really, the two main keys would apply. You're already taking medication for it. You've already been to your doctor. I always recommend everybody go see their doctor. So what else can you do besides remove that negative attention? What else can you do besides remove that negative attention? Thoughts come, we accept these thoughts. Feelings come, we accept these feelings. We don't give negative attention. We can even go into the feelings and accept them for what they are and use them as our anchor. We can even use feelings as our anchor to stop giving attention to the thoughts up here. Trust me, Diane. I think that's how you pronounce that. I'm sorry, I haven't had much sleep. Trust me. I'm not saying I don't believe in energy, but I'm also saying that your negative thoughts, your fearful thoughts, all right, are not going to suddenly just come into your reality. Okay, because if that was true, I would have really screwed myself over. I would have really screwed myself over. Accepting thoughts means to do nothing with them. Just look elsewhere, put the attention elsewhere, right? That's what acceptance means. It means to not try to push or pull on anything. It's just to put the attention elsewhere. You're not up in your head fighting with these thoughts or trying to fight with these feelings. You're just looking elsewhere. You're accepting. You're not getting involved mentally, right? Once your anxiety heals, you will sleep again. Focus on two main keys. Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. Do you guys see the bags under my eyes yet? Are they noticeable yet? So I'm not sure exactly. Did you suffer any did you suffer from any obsessive thoughts during recovery? My guy, there's not a single person who's sensitized on the face of this earth that doesn't suffer from obsessive thoughts. My dude, there is not a single person on the face of planet Earth who has dealt with sensitization that has not suffered from obsessive thoughts. That's one of the main ingredients of ending up in that state. In fact, you can't have a sensitized state without that ingredient. You really can't. So is it normal? It's not only normal, but you're not going to find a single sensitized person who does not have some form of obsessive thinking in a negative way, right? And that's why we say you got to stop putting the attention there. You got to let them burn out. All right, so I am removing this video because it's no longer needed. Say goodbye to it. You don't need it, chat. It's the one called It's Not Worth It. We're removing that one because this one right here is way better than that. We were way more clear in my mind in this stream. So say goodbye to that useless video. This is 2.0 right here. This is 2.0. What do you suggest when you don't have much to do? That's fine. It's still up to you where you place your attention. You don't necessarily need all the things in the world to do, right, to place the attention elsewhere. You don't necessarily need all the things to consume all of your time in order to place the attention elsewhere. You can place your attention on anything outside of the mind, even if it's you're doing something or you're just laying in bed, right? I still do have negative thinking. The difference is now I don't fuel it exactly. So you're slowly removing that fuel source. You're just looking elsewhere, as the title of this stream says. What do we mean by just looking elsewhere? We mean you allow the thoughts to be there, but you've removed the involvement because your attention is placed back on real life to the best of your ability. As you are now recovered, those obsessive negative thoughts are gone, right? So your fear is that it'll be in my life forever, even after recovery. Well, spoiler alert, once you recover and your nerves are not in a fried state, you'll be laughing at the same thoughts that are causing you so much trouble now. That's just one little fun fact that I like to throw out there. So not only is that not true, the thoughts will leave you alone the more you start to not fuel them by placing attention elsewhere. Okay, so not only is that not true, but also let's say the thoughts were still there. It wouldn't matter. You would be laughing at them. You would be laughing at them because the problem is you're in a tired body, you're in a sensitized body, and that's why it's overreacting. That's why it's overreacting. As soon as you start to heal those nerves, it wouldn't even matter to you if the thoughts were there. They're not going to be there because you're going to stop fueling them, I hope, right? But even if they were there and you're not in a sensitized body, you wouldn't give a shit. You really would not give a shit. I know you can't picture that now. I know you can't picture that now, but that's what happens when your nerves heals. Your body stops overreacting. Your body starts overreacting. So Laura, so the same thing applies to you. You say you struggle with physical symptoms the most. Well, notice something. Notice when physical symptoms, I'm getting tongue tied. Notice when physical symptoms kick in, okay, it starts to create a mind game that you give your total attention to and that you start to get involved in, right? So one way or another, this cycle always begins and ends with the mind, whether we're talking about physical symptoms or not. Okay, so the physical symptoms kick in and then here goes the mind game, and now it's a cycle. Or maybe the mind game starts and here goes the symptoms and now it's a cycle. So either way, okay, you can cut the head off the snake by tackling this mind game and moving on with life. Our two main keys: moving on with life, accepting, right? And tackling this mind game by removing attention from it, by removing involvement from it. All right, guys, I got to get something to drink. We got dry mouth over here, like a bitch. So you'll notice you say anyone just having mainly physical symptoms, you'll notice that you're not just mainly having physical symptoms. As these physical symptoms are there, are you or are you not in your head with horror stories about the physical symptoms, about how you don't wish to feel them and how you wish they'd go away and what can you do about this and what can you do about that? So when you say anyone just having mainly physical symptoms, you have to look a little bit deeper. And as soon as you do this, you'll start to realize that you're not just experiencing physical symptoms. There is a bit of a story, a negative story in your head that you are putting your attention on and getting involved with that are making your physical symptoms undesirable and turning them into suffering, right? Mic drop. Your boy's on fire. Somebody sign me a record deal, all right? All right. God, it's so hot in here, chat. I gotta turn this heat off. You end the mind game, chat, by taking your attention and involvement away from the mind game. Everything else will fall into place, I promise. Some people say, yeah, but I still have physical symptoms. Well, those physical symptoms are made 10 times worse. I promise you, they are made so much worse by what you tell yourself mentally. It comes back to the mind game, right? Because if there was no mental attention and involvement being given to negative thoughts about the physical symptoms, then they would just be as they are. There would be no horror story attached because the involvement is no longer there. The horror story might be floating around in the mind, but you removed attention from it, and therefore it'll become much, much easier to deal with these physical symptoms. Much, much easier. I'm really struggling to just go with the symptoms. They always get me. They always get you because you get involved in the mind game, right? You say they always get me. How do they get you? They get you through the mind game. You start to get involved in the mind that says, I don't want to feel this. This means that. Judgment, judgment, judgment. Horror story, horror story, horror story. That's why the point of this stream is you've got to look elsewhere. The mind can say what it wants, but you've got to start looking elsewhere. Because if you're continuing to get involved in this mind game, it's just this hamster wheel. It's this hamster wheel. And that doesn't mean as soon as you start to put attention elsewhere, back into your normal life, and stop giving so much attention to the mind, that these thoughts will immediately disappear. It may take a while for this fire to burn out, but you've stopped adding the logs. You've stopped adding the logs, right? You have stopped adding the logs. All right, chat, send in any final questions you have. um, I am extremely tired. So I just wanted to do this stream to clarify and kind of make it as an update video to the stream. What was it entitled? I literally just read it before I deleted it. It's not worth it. Yeah, that one where we talked about reminding yourself of that. I just wanted to do this as like an update video to that stream because I feel like I just was not clear enough for some people in that stream. So that stream is gone. The stream is taking its place. I highly recommend you watch this stream until you understand what I'm saying. Great stream. I'm happy with it. But let's get in some final questions. Every time I'd get involved, panic. Boom, there you go. Right there. Got to leave that mind game alone, chat. The mind is going to say a lot of things about a lot of things, right? And if you give it your attention, you're in for it. You're in for it. But eventually, even though that mind game comes, and it is uncomfortable when it does come, and it does cause feelings when it does come, as long as you don't get involved, you are again removing that fuel from the fire, and eventually that'll burn out. But if you get involved with your attention, and like we said earlier, your attention can take many different forms: fighting, labeling, judging, agreeing, disagreeing, whatever. As soon as you get involved with that attention, instead of just looking elsewhere, which means to come back out to reality and leave this alone, okay, you're in for it. And I'm sure you guys already know that because you're here. Where you recognize the pattern by saying to yourself, there you go again. Yeah, it's like I've told my chat many times, there's nothing wrong with reminders, but don't use those reminders, and that was one of my main points of today's stream that I wanted to be clear on. Don't use those reminders as trying to force the thoughts out. It's a reminder to not get involved and then look elsewhere. Okay? Allow the thought to be there, and it probably still will be there, as, even when you remove that attention, but it'll slowly burn out. It'll slowly burn out. Thank you for doing this and helping us, even though you've barely slept. Hope you sleep well tonight. Hey, man, I appreciate that. I'm happy to do it. Anytime I realize that maybe I wasn't 100% clear on something, all right, and there could be people out there that need me to be 100% clear on things, I'm happy to jump on under any circumstance and clarify. It's no big deal. I'm happy to do it. It would bug the shit out of me unless I did it. I appreciate your wise words. I'm so glad I found you. I'm so glad you're here too. Thank you for watching. Appreciate it. When you're just sitting slash laying, observing feelings, thoughts, what do you suggest to move attention to when there's barely anything around you and perhaps dark? So, a lot of people don't realize that there is a sound of silence. Silence has a sound. You can put your attention on a sound. You can put your attention on the feelings as long as there's not a horror story attached, as long as you're not entertaining horror stories, right? You can put your attention literally wherever you want to put it. As the title of this stream says, look elsewhere. You can look elsewhere wherever you want to look, right? As long as you're out of the mind game, as long as you're not fueling the mind game. So keep that in mind. Don't think you need to jam pack your day full of activities in order to do this. Okay? You can choose to put your attention anywhere. How is the recovery process? For a lot of people, there's a lot of learning that needs to be done, a lot of ups and downs simply because you think you broke the bad habit, but you're right back into the mind game, right? So that happens for a lot of people. So expect up and downs, and then gradually you will start to return to your old self. These thoughts will lose their power, their momentum, because you've stopped fueling them. The body will return to a calm state, and you'll feel like you again. Ugh. Hey, I appreciate that face paint. I seen your comment, Sylvia. Hopefully that answered it for you. All right, guys, I'm going to go ahead and bounce on out. It's a short one, but again, this was nothing more than just a 2.0 of the last stream that I was not completely satisfied with. So we're going to upload this one. The last one's gone. Just wanted to be clear. I hope you guys take this. If you're still a bit confused, rewatch the stream. Rewatch the stream. I really don't know how else I could put it. Okay, I think this stream was pretty much on point. So if you didn't get it, just rewatch it again. I promise this advice is there. It's there. It's ready for you. There's no better way to put it than the way I put it today. It's not possible. I don't believe it's possible. So if you're still not 100% on what needs to be done, just rewatch the stream. All right? And I love you guys. I'm going to go ahead and get out of here. You will heal. You will recover. Take the attention away from what's going on up here. Anything can be going on up here. It does not matter. It's no longer your business, right? Put the attention elsewhere, and slowly you will start to heal. I love you guys, and I'll see you all in the next one. Your boy's going to go watch a movie, maybe fall asleep. I don't know yet. I love you guys. Stay awesome. See you next time. 10K right around the corner, right? I've totally forgot how to